Ocarina of Time was released for the 64th Nintendo in November 1998, becoming the single most loved game across the gamerverse, and I'd never played it. But that all changed in July of 2025 when I popped out the old Wolverine claw, cracked a surge, fucked around, and fully found out. Today, I'd like to tell you the story of how Ocarina of Time became my favorite game after waiting 30 years to play it. Growing up, I had an N64, but I was busting gamer nuts on my Sea-Doo and trying to rip a 1080 in the Alps with Ricky. So Ocarina of Time just never really came across my desk. My connection to video games has always been just fun platforming or brain exercises in the form of puzzles. I'd never really felt anything through playing a video game except stuff like, look dudes, I got this shiny Zubat. Bet you never felt that sense of accomplishment before, huh, Jeremy? So to be totally honest, I wasn't prepared at all for the emotional ride that I was about to be put on in front of the whole ass internet while streaming my first playthrough over on twitch.tv/JangleBoy. Like and subscribe. As soon as I booted the game to begin my Zeldorian journey, I was greeted with my first tasty taste of a 5-star Michelin atmosphere being served up in here. It opens on a shot of a hill beneath the night sky, and in the distance, the clopping of hooves begins to emerge. Then the twinkle of piano keys, like the opening of a dream sequence, wraps you in this warm sense of just kick back, my dude. This gorgeous title theme and simple cinematic instantly sets the tone of mystery and fantastical adventure, which is just a preview of one of Ocarina's greatest strengths, tone. Throughout this entire game, the devs never miss an opportunity to make sure you're feeling what they intended you to feel, whether it's through the music or the NPCs, the setting, or more commonly, a combination of all of it. The story for Ocarina of Time goes a little something like this. After settling on a good-ass name, you're introduced to the world by the father of the Kokiri, the great Deku Tree, who says all the kids in the world have a sidekick fairy except this one dude. Bad news, you're that one dude. So GDT sends a brand new, very helpful, and not annoying at all fairy named Navi to get you back to him ASAP. After gearing up, you run back to him to perform a throat exam because apparently healthcare is expensive in Hyrule. Turns out he's been cursed and wants you to climb up inside him and magic school bus your way around to dispel it. And he thinks that you're the destined hero of this world and will help dispel the evil coming for everyone or something like that. So once you grind up a metric fuck ton of spiders and their big one-eyed mama, he tells you the story of a baddie from the desert who puts the bad juju on him. And that dusty dude is looking for the sacred realm where the Triforce has been hidden by the 3 goddesses after creating the world. Big Daddy here tells you to never let the man in black get his grubby digits on that Dorito, and oh yeah, also that he's about to fucking die anyway. Oh no. So even though you just got all goopy inside his GI, he's still gonna get dead as hell because of this desert man. With his last breath, he gives you one of the spiritual stones that the bad man was looking for and tasks you with finding Princess Zelda in Hyrule Castle to find the others and stop his fate from becoming a pandemic. Depression in hand, you receive a Fairy Ocarina from Saria to remember her by, then roll your way across Hyrule Field to break into Hyrule Castle, wake up Mario with a chicken, and find Princess Zelda eavesdropping on her dad, meeting with an evil set of eyebrows, Ganondorf. She explains that she's been having the same nightmares that you have with the evil redhead, and she thinks Eyebrows here is the same dude. She's afraid that he's after the Triforce, which can grant wishes, but if someone with an evil mind has their wish granted, it'll send the world into a dark timeline. So to protect the Nachos from that evil, the ancient sages built this Temple of Time, which in retrospect is kind of this giant billboard that's like, hey, here's where our life or death MacGuffin is. Hey, it's right here. It's super secret. It's right here though. Secret life or death MacGuffin. But luckily they built this big ass door that can only be opened by the 3 spiritual stones and the Ocarina of Time, which is being held by Zelda. The plan is go gather the rest of the stones, meet back at the Temple of Time, get to the Triforce before Ganondorf do, and then save the world from a dark fate. Hey, this seems like a lot of weight for a child, don't we think? We just got our fairy, watched our dad die, and now we have to save the fucking world? We do have a magical Apple iFlute 17, though, that can do stuff like call your friends to gossip, or befriend a horse, or summon the fucking sun? Tell me why children have this power. Like, we're worried about eyebrows over here, but not pure adolescent curiosity? Oh, is that just me? Okay, sure. I'm sure it'll be fine. Kids are famous for not having done anything stupid before. Ever. So yeah, this will be great. Don't worry about it. So you roll off again to get the Firestone from Death Mountain by sending the Dodongos into extinction because the Gorons like a little snack. And then you go get the Waterstone from the Zora Princess by rescuing her against her will because she's just chilling inside of a godfish. Then you head back to Hyrule Castle when you're stopped by your nightmare again. But no, wait, this one's happening IRL. As fate would have it, Ganondorf's plan all along was to kidnap Zelda to get the Ocarina, but Impa, the absolute badass, rushed her out to safety. Just like the reoccurring nightmare, you see them chased out of town by Ganondorf, but this time, she yeets her Ocarina into the moat, so you grab your new blue flute and I guess just leave the one from Zarya in the water and head back to the temple yourself to open the Sacred Realm and cut Ganondorf's plans and dick short. You run through the crowd to the Temple of Time, set the 3 stones on the mantle, and play an absolute banger to open the door of time. You find the Master Sword, which is just so shiny that you have to touch it. Again, I'm sure it's fine though, right? Because, you know, kids have never done anything stupid. Right? Wrong again! Because after touching that shiny stick, you wake up a grown-ass man with medical debt and rent. Rauru, the Sage of Light, tells you that he kept you sedated here for the last 7 years because you weren't old enough to drive yet. But while you were knocked out, Big Red got in here behind you and got his hands on the Triforce. So fucking whoops, I guess? All that talk about getting here was for Dicky Goosebags because now he's become the king of evil. So you devise a new plan with Rauru. Find the Sage's pocket change to become the hero of time, slap the bitch off of Ganondorf's face, and rescue the world from evil. So to summarize, as a child, you tried to save your dad from dying, failed. Attempted to meet up with Zelda to open the door together, failed. Opened the door yourself to beat Ganondorf to the punch, only to wake up a full-ass adult and realize you did exactly what he wanted you to do, fail. Ocarina at every turn has you succeed, then fail to give you this overwhelming feeling of hopelessness that you have to overcome if you want to make things right. I've never been so wrapped up in a story before and actually felt the weight of the task that was given. The story in games for me has only really ever just been text boxes to get me from one level to the next, but in Ocarina, I really felt that shit non-stop. Speaking of levels though, let's talk a little bit about what this game felt like to play by getting into the loop and a couple of levels and see why the gameplay had just as much of an impact on me as the story itself did. Ocarina of Time, like other traditional Zeldas, has the ever-satisfying gameplay loop of explore a dungeon, acquire an item, beat up a bad guy, profit, repeat. And holy shit, there is a whole Arby's half-pound beef and cheddars worth of this shit in here too. This will be the we got big dungeons, little dungeons, small dungeons, hot dungeons, cold dungeons,
wet dungeons,
dry dungeons, dark dungeons, dank dungeons. You want it? We got it. Oh, come on down. My first romp into 3D Zelda was with the Wind Waker recently, and there's like 8 dungeons in that game, and one of them is just being like a stabby gauntlet that I barely even touched. Ocarina, on the other hand, has a total of 12 dungeons, and they don't waste any time getting you into that loop either. So after maybe like 10 minutes of preliminary farting around, you're taint deep into the first dungeon playing doctor on your stepdad's butt. And Babby's first dungeon is a great introduction into the mechanics, story, and world all in one clever package. Nintendo is well known for their tutorial style of making the player learn stuff by instinct, and this is no exception. Inside the Great Deku Tree, we learn about climbing, combat, doors, fire, and aiming with our first item of the game, the slingshot. Each dungeon is themed incredibly well and utilizes the earned item in a way that is very satisfying for both puzzling and combat. I'd go through them individually, but I don't want to be stuck in this room yapping for 7 years, so I'll just drill into 2 of note. My favorite dungeon and the other one. But let's start with my favorite, the Spirit Temple. In the entrance, you meet Nabooru, who asks you to put your tiny body into some holes to get these gauntlets so that she can beat Ganon's ass herself. Now, I don't know about you nerds, but I'm not the one to stand in the way of a woman's wrath, so I just say, yes ma'am, and then fucking get to getting. After getting said gloves, you emerge outside only to find that there's these 2 witches straight up trying to bury Nabooru alive. You want to put the gloves on yourself to try and find her, but your tiny child hands are too small. So you leave lived for 7 years to come back to try and rescue her as Big Boy Linkus. You finally find the witches after running through the second half of this temple, and they sick their guard minion on you. So you crack a cold can of whoop ass only to immediately feel like an asshole because you were whooping up on Nibiru the whole G-dang time, dude. Apparently, these witches had brainwashed our Sandy girl, and she's just been in the sunken place for 7 fucking years. This all makes for a really great and gripping story for the Spirit Temple. Every beat gives you a good reason to keep pushing through to the next objective. And never once did I say to myself, I guess I could do that. I don't really got much else going on. As for the puzzling and presentation, first of all, it incorporates the time travel mechanic in a way that is very organic and feels necessary. And even gives some extra stakes because you're constantly thinking about Nibiru being a prisoner for the 7 years that you're gone, just so you can fit into your new clothes. The other thing that makes this dungeon perfect is how it implements the setting into the puzzles, level design, and music. Set in the Gerudo Desert, it does a great job of making it feel hot, arid, and sandy, much to Anakin's dismay. The other major item you get in this temple is the Mirror Shield, which interacts with sunlight to progress through areas and puzzles. So everything that happens in this temple is specifically centered around the idea that you're in the middle of the desert and quietly accumulating swamp ass. Finally, and I think what really sent this temple over the edge for me, was the fact that the entire journey through the temple, from the start to the very end, was centered around this idea of twos. There's 2 halves of this dungeon that you do in 2 different time periods. You get 2 different items to fight a pair of witches that fuse into one bad bitch, witch, and then they shoot 2 different beams of magic at you. From jump, it's foreshadowing the final boss in this dungeon, and it feels awesome. No notes. Spirit Temple, best temple. Now let's talk about the other one. You won't be surprised for me to tell you that the Water Temple is the worst temple in Ocarina of Time. Now that being said, it's still a great temple, but there's some major hangups that really held it down for me. First, and most well-known I think, is the fact that you gotta use the iron boots to navigate the entire temple, but they're set up like armor in the game, so this means that every time you want to take them off or put them on, you gotta pause the game, navigate to the items menu, select the iron boots, then unpause again. Now that doesn't sound like a lot on the surface, but with the amount of times that you gotta go through that process, it really becomes a downer. They fixed this in the 3D remake on the 3DS and made it so that you can put the boots on a button like an item and just flip in and out of them at will. This small change fixed that issue completely, so I don't really hold that against this temple, but what I do hold against this temple are 2 things. The main mechanism for the Water Temple is adjusting the level of water here by playing Zelda's Lullaby to traverse these 3 floors. Now, again, that doesn't sound too bad until you realize that you can only adjust the water level at 3 specific points within the temple. This means that if you miss something, you have to traverse the entirety of the temple just to get back to the point where you can adjust the water level, and then maybe remember where you were 20 minutes ago. This sucks. The other thing that keeps this temple down for me is how it kicked me right in the nuts after being presented with one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen in media, maybe ever. So after an eternity of water bending, you find this door guarded by a jelly monster. You feed him some death and enter the door to find yourself in what seems to be a dream or something. There's a lone dead tree in the middle of this place, covered in water as far as the eye can see. And beyond the reminder of your dead dad stands a small structure with a gated door that you can't open. No other options to be found. You turn around and head back the way you came and encounter an actual shadow of yourself. Fuck! What takes place here is quite literally a challenge to conquer yourself. Dark Jim copies your every move and has the same amount of health as you, so you are straight up trying to beat your own ass. Except this version of you has an extra trick where he can Crouching Link Hidden Dragon face kick you off the tip of your sword, which hurts really fucking bad. I'm trying everything I got and nothing is working. Over and over again, I get kicked in the teeth until it dawns on me that he's only copying my moves when I Z target him. This was one of those use the force slew type of moments for me where I was forced to find a new way to fight by not relying on the crutches of technology, but instead using the skills I had developed over the game thus far and realize my full potential. This dude right here made for the most satisfying boss fight I had ever encountered up to this point. The setting, the struggle, the realization all came together in the most perfect way to make for an experience that I will never be able to forget. Feeling high on life and wet from sweat, I walked through that door and then got fucking nut dragged by this river whirlpool section where if you don't swim in just the right place or don't switch boots at just the right moment, you get sucked off back to the beginning just to try it all over again. It grabbed me from my pedestal of feeling like I was finally the chosen one that Deku Daddy thought I was and slammed me into the fucking dirt. Not to mention that there was still a back half to this elevator nightmare that I had to get through in order to get to a booger boss, which was a whole other kind of letdown, but look, that's enough of that. The water temple has cool stuff in it, but the overall execution just hurt my feelings, okay? The water temple sucks. It's in the burn book. But like I said earlier in the video, Ocarina of Time makes me feel throughout the entire adventure. Like, for this to be a 30-year-old game, it put me through a range of emotions, both with the story and gameplay, in a way that I had never experienced before. Speaking of feelies, let's get back to whooping Ganon's ass so we can save the world. After gathering all the medallions from the now woke sages, you make your way back to the Temple of Time where you meet up with Sheik again. In one of the coolest holy shit moments ever, you find out that she's actually Zelda in disguise. This whole time, she's been helping you through your adventure just like you planned as kids, which is so wholesome and sweet, and I love it. Right as both of you are about to head off to defeat Ganon, you get dick punched again because he's been waiting for this moment to trap Zelda in a giant rupee and kidnap her to obtain the Triforce of Wisdom for himself. God damn it, dude. You cannot catch a break in this game. With the help of the sages, you dispel the barrier keeping you from your goal of whoop-assery and make your way up the tower to find Ganon doing his Phantom of the Opera impression with Zelda trapped by his side. By all three of you being here, he is so close to achieving his evil goals, and the only thing standing in his way is your body. So you get into this ping-pong death match, but your moves are too good, and you send his light ball back into his body to defeat him once and for all. Zelda gets freed from her rupee-goopy prison, and the world is finally saved. Wrong again! This game ain't done with your feelings yet. The tower's now collapsing, and you gotta get the fuck out of here with Zelda. The devs got sadistic with this one, because they put a 3-minute timer on screen, and you gotta escort Zelda through this tower while fighting enemies and dodging falling debris. The anxiety levels were through the roof. Then once you finally do make it through this hell maze, you find that the game has one more big fuck you to put in your face. Ganon's not actually dead. He just powered up into a giant demon monster that will absolutely blast your ass. And if you get murked by this demon pig, you get sent all the way back to the top of the tower just to be sure that your anxiety levels never decrease for you to figure out the key to actually killing him for good. Everything about this final battle is done masterfully. Being surrounded by fire and lightning, being mentally and physically exhausted both in-game and IRL, all while facing off with the embodiment of evil at the end of the world, is the perfect climax to a perfect game. This is exactly what I meant when I said earlier that Ocarina of Time makes you feel exactly what it wants you to feel throughout the entire experience. But it's still not done yet. After finally overcoming the evil that has taken over the world, the sages lock Ganondorf away, and Zelda tells you that she can send you back to your time as a child. This, of course, means that after you went through an entire lifetime of hardship to save her, your journey together has to end here. Zelda plays the ocarina for you one last time, and you're sent back in time to regain your childhood in a world that doesn't know it's been saved, and with nothing but memories of your lost friend. I have played a lot of video games in my life. I've seen a lot of movies. I've watched a lot of TV shows, and I'd say I've read a lot of books, but that'd be a lie because dyslexia, there it is, and ADHD is real as fuck. But I never had the experience that Ocarina of Time has delivered. From the opening title screen, through each section, through each temple, all the way to the credits, Ocarina guided me through an emotional loop of despair, hope, failure, over and over and over again. Even in the satisfaction, there was always a taste of inevitability that would sour the sweet victories. All that being said, they never let it feel like the good that you did was in vain. So the ultimate feeling that I'm left with is that doing good and defeating evil is not about personal gain or self-indulgence, but it's about doing what's right for everyone else, even if it means you have to give up everything. And that's what makes Ocarina an evergreen masterpiece. Put this shit at the top. You know where it goes. Now tell me where Ocarina ranks for you. Did it jerk you around like it did me, or did you just like all the pretty colors? Any and all thoughts, I wanted to hear them down here. And while you're down there, make sure you do a lick and a subscribe, and then share this video with your fellow gamers so that they can make fun of me for being old and late. I'm working on my next video in this Zelda series, but in the meantime, if you want to see my take on the first 3D Zelda that I ever played, that one's right here. But you should probably go ahead and click it, because we're running out of time here. That we're getting pretty fucking low on time. Could you just click the shit? The moon, it's coming. Hurry!